I think it's something that I've calories, protein spoke about enough, I believe. But there's
Yeah,
also that argument now of where you're getting that protein and where you're getting your calories from, right? It doesn't matter what a calorie is made from. If you're in a deficit of calories, you're going to lose weight. And if you're in a surplus of calories, you're going to gain weight. We luckily, with the knowledge that Mr. Smith has given a majority of the people in the weight loss industry now, and obviously other people too, but he's the one that influenced me the most, and of course you too.
yeah,
We know that, and now have provided it in your history to your clients, and now I do the same for my clients and teach them all about the protein and the calorie equation too. But now I think there's starting to become a bit more of a focus of the chemically produced, man-made, processed food against where you get the good stuff from, and that potentially is another argument that kind of comes after, or another. It's another part of the education that can come when somebody starts nailing their protein, when somebody starts nailing their calories. It's then about the next step of right. Let's
yeah.
improve your nutrition even more by doing X, Y, and Z.
I think it's degrees of it. I mean, I'll give you an example. When I was fat loss coaching, I had a lad work with me who was very, very, very overweight. We're going to class way over morbidly obese. And he lived on his own, and his diet consisted, so apart from cereal and toast for breakfast, every lunch was a takeaway and every dinner was a takeaway
Oh wow.
because he didn't know how to cook, which was a huge thing. So um, rather than getting to count calories, rather than getting stressed about protein, and rather than like completely overwhelming him with shopping lists and recipes and all that kind of stuff, then we started. I said, okay, so let's look at, tell me where you eat your lunch and dinner. And we looked at all these takeaways and stuff. And so we went through the menu for each place and we looked at the calories and we looked at just changing the options that he got very slightly. And he committed to cooking 2 dishes at home a week, and we did extra sessions. So we cooked on Zoom together. I taught him to cook on Zoom. And so we started off the first goal. So if you're having 14 takeaways a week, his first goal that first week was to have 12 takeaways. And with the 12 takeaways he was having, to tweak his options to slightly lower calorie versions. I wasn't saying you couldn't have chips. I wasn't saying you couldn't have this. So technically, by the time he'd worked with me for 3 months, he was still on about, I think he still had his lunch as a takeaway every week. So he was still on 7 takeaways probably a week, and they weren't the greatest nutritional options for him, but they actually helped. But he was having dinner at home every night. Now, the difference being that in 3 months of showing him what the better options were and teaching him to cook a few dishes in that time and tweaking what he had for breakfast, he lost nearly 4 stone by just making those small changes. And then because it seemed accessible to him, he just carried on.
Mm.
So by the time I think 2 years went past, and he'd worked with me for about 6, 7 months, and I think we got about 6 or 7 stone off. But by the time 2 years went past, he was 12 stone down.
Wow, that's unbelievable, isn't it? That's
Completely
insane.
changed his life. But I think sometimes, particularly when you get into the health and fitness industry and someone says, oh, I need to lose some weight and shape up, they think they have to be perfect. They think they have to do everything absolutely spot on. They think they've got to hit 10,000 steps a day, drink 2.5, 3 litres of water. They've got to do, high protein, no treats, no takeaways, no booze. And actually, that's so not true. And I think that the more we can normalize, I think Emma Story Gordon calls it imperfect action. I just call it being messily, gloriously imperfect.
Mm.
Everything you do, but still showing up for yourself.
Yes, the 80/20 is
Yeah,
with
agreed
the with
every time.
yeah, with the relation to the 100% coaching method with myself, the 80/20 one works the best, right, for me. It's a good way of explaining it. But it's so true because I've been in a situation in the past where I've started a diet, whatever format it is. I've seen my mum do it on multiple occasions. You know everyone that's done it, and like you say, you go do that shop first, and then you think you got to do this, and then you think you got to cut out this, and then
Yeah.
by the end of 2 days, you're like, fucking all of this stuff I've got to think about. I've had enough already. Yeah.